Hi, it's Sandy Parker, and welcome to Crafting for Almost Everyone. A lot of you probably don't know this, but Rich is a really great photographer, and he wanted to help you be able to make Easter cards quick, or spring cards, or Passover cards, whatever you were looking to make. He wanted to help you make them really quickly. So what he's done is he's taken this photograph and he's made it a JPEG. So what that means is you can put your cardstock into your regular printer and print it out, and what will happen is it'll print this. There are two on one page, but it'll print them out. They're already a 4x6, which is a standard postcard size, but you can trim it to make it a 5.5 by 4.25 if you want to for your regular cards. You can do whatever you want as far as sizing goes. But I thought what I would do is show you exactly how to take it from printing out on your regular printer and making it into this, which is a postcard that says Happy Easter and has the postcard image on the back. So with that, what we're going to do is you're going to have your image, and your image will look like this. And the first thing I wanted to do is I wanted to create my background paper, which is this. So what I did with this is I trimmed it to 4 inches by 6 inches. And so if you're not really familiar with your paper trimmer, or you're new to making cards, I want to get stuff out of the way. I have a lot of stuff going on here in my desk. If you're not familiar with your paper trimmer, or you don't know how to trim paper, I thought what I would do is show you. And what you're going to do is you're going to line this paper up at the 6-inch mark right here. And hopefully I'm in the viewfinder so you can see that 6 inches right there. You'll put your paper in so it's on the 6-inch, and then you're going to hold it and trim it, and then use this paper later for something else, like sentiments or something for another project. Then I'm going to make mine 4 inches by 6 inches, which is standard postcard size, as I said. So I turn it and put it in at the 4-inch side and trim. Then pull that out and then move it up to the 4 inches again, hold it down, and another 4-inch piece. And again, you have a little spare. So that is that part of the trimming. Now the next thing you're going to trim, again, remember you're going to have your paper come out of the photocopier like this, and so you're going to need to trim these out. So what I did when I did this is I lined them up so that my left side of my image, this side of my image, was right on this cut line, which is where your little pointer, you should have a little pointer on your trimmer. It should be pointing right where you're going to cut. So holding it, making sure that the back part of your paper is flush with your bar, you're going to want to make sure that you hold it down and trim, and that'll take off the first part of your image that you don't want. Then you're going to turn it around and doing the same thing, putting it on the paper grid so that it's lined up with that exactly the way you want it. You're going to cut it again, and that takes those 2 edges off. Now for these edges, all you're going to do is you're going to do the exact same thing. Line it up, cut it. I like to line these up, these 2 edges first, and get them out of my way. I didn't cut that as much. If you have a little white edge that you need to get rid of, that's fine. You can just cut it and get it out of your way. Then we need to cut our center images. I have a Misty and a Stamp Perfect so that I can stamp both of my images without having to change out anything. So they're in my way. Now, these are already cut to 4x6. So this is your standard postcard size. If you want to back it like I have, you're going to need to trim a little bit off. So what I did with mine is I trimmed a very little bit off of the bottom. Then what I did is I turned it over so that I saw the top of the image, and then I want it to be about 3 3/4. So you put it in your 3 3/4 mark on your paper trimmer, and you take that part off. Then the same on this side, I want it to be 5 3/4 because I don't want it to be super wide, so that I can have it so you can see it on my background. And then I'm going to do the same with this one. I'm just going to trim a little bit off of that so that we have a good image on the side. This one I'm going to have a little bit less trimmed off the edges, so you'll be able to see kind of a difference in ones that have more back that you can see the background color on, and some that you see less on. So then what you're going to want to do is you're going to find your sentiment. Now my sentiment is Happy Easter, and I just decided that I was going to make mine very, very simple. And this is going to go on the front of your image. So you're going to decide where you want it. I got a little magnet problem. You just want to decide where you want it on your image, or on this, and then you're going to stamp it. I'm going to turn mine sideways so that I can put some color on it. And I'm choosing to do Cherry Cobbler. It's an old Stampin' Up! Ink color. I don't even know if it's still available, but I like the color, so I'm going with it. My Happy Easter stamp is from Hero Art's Celebrate Every Day. Also an old set. Probably still available because Hero Arts doesn't really change theirs out much, I don't think. And you know how I like to stamp my sentiment a few times because I like it to be pretty vivid. So there is our sentiment, and that is the front of our postcard. So we're done with the front. Now we just need to do the back, and I have my Misty lined up to do that because I wanted to make sure that I showed you this quickly. So all you do with this is, oh, I got a little ink on that. You're going to get your paper that you've already cut to 4 by 6, and you're going to just put it in your Misty. And in this case, I'm going to use VersaFine Onyx Black that I put into a different ink pad because I didn't like their ink pads. So I put it into one of the Distress ink pads because it didn't bug me as bad as the other kind did. If you've ever used the VersaFine Onyx Black ink, it comes in this weird flappy container that makes me absolutely nuts, and so I just couldn't stand it. And I can't remember who it was, but one of my viewers said, Sandy, did you ever think about getting one of the ones from Distress Inks that are blank, there's nothing in them, and then just filling it with your re-inker? I thought it was a genius idea, and I went with it. So that's why it looks like it's Distress Ink, but it's not. I'm just going to do this one more time. So there is my postcard. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put the two together. Now, when you're making a postcard, and now this is 65-pound cardstock, and so is the one that I use for my Happy Easter. The reason I did that is because I wanted them to be very, very, very lightweight in and of themselves, and then together they're going to make the equivalent of one serious piece of paper. Follow that? So that's why I did it the way I did it. So then what you're going to do is you're going to run your tape runner. You want tape runner to go on all 4 sides. Cover them really, really well because you want to make sure that this doesn't lift up, because if it lifts apart when it goes through the mail, you can just forget that it's going to get to its destination, because that's, you know, postcards are not supposed to be 2 layers, but if you really stick them together well, like I'm trying to explain, then you shouldn't have any problems with it. This is the worst. I can never get this thing to run right. I'm going to try and make sure that I cover a lot of this. Okay, here we go. The other thing you want to make sure of is that your Happy Easter faces the same way as your postcard, so that when you flip it over, your postcard isn't backwards. That makes a lot of sense. It should. And then you're just going to take it, and you're going to even it up on the edge like that, and it should be flat all the way across. I have a little nail file because my edge is a little bit, it's got a little fuzz on it, and there you have it. So that is a really quick and easy way to make a postcard. So then I thought, well, since we made a postcard, I want to show you how to make a really quick and easy card. So we're going to do the same thing, only this time we're just going to put it on a card base. So what I did with the other one is I put my Happy Easter on a piece of cardstock that I was going to use for another postcard, and I trimmed it a little bit so it was about 5 1/4, 4 inches by 5 1/4, and so that way it'll fit on a regular A2 size card, which is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. Make sure it goes in the right direction. So in order to make our card, all we did was I put some foam backing on our postcard, and I trimmed it a little bit so it fit on a 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 inch card base, and then I put a little bit of decoration on my envelope, and then here is our postcard. It was really nice for Rich to think of us and do that picture for us, so it was really easy and convenient for us to make a last-minute card or postcard. I hope you give this a thumbs up and subscribe, and thanks so much for watching. Bye-bye.